Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be working on a radar hack. Now we could be using AmGUI to draw our own radar, since we already have the player positions. But instead, we're going to be working on the in-game radar, so I can show you how to hook functions or change the game's assembly manually. So we're going to be changing this radar, or map, whatever you want to call it, so it also shows enemies. And we're also going to be changing the minimap on the right, so it also shows enemies as well. Now to find the function that draws the players on the radar, we have to guess how this could be implemented. So if I was coding this, I would iterate through all the players and check if their team matches ours. If it does, then we draw it. If it doesn't, then we don't. So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to get a random entity from our entity list and get their team address. So let's choose a random entity, get their team, copy this address, and then we can add this to cheat engine. Now we're going to check what accesses this address or what checks this variable. So this is basically going to check what things check the player's team. So we have a couple functions, and one of them is probably the minimap. But if we open the map, we should see another one. Perfect. So this is the map, and one of these is the minimap. So let's start with the map, and then after we figure out how to bypass the team check, we can try to do the minimap as well. So let's go to show this assembler, and here's our team. So here we're moving ESI plus 30C into EDI, and somewhere in here we should have something iterating through the player list, which I'm guessing it's this. We can check that real quick. Let's check our constants. This is 18BC30 for the player list. So if we go to our constant CPP, we should have the same one, and it is. So this is the player list. So we're iterating through the player list. We're loading the team. We're testing if it's 0. If it is, we're jumping to this. I don't know what that does. If it doesn't, we compare it to 1. Let's keep going down and see if we see any OpenGL functions or anything that could indicate the game is drawing the map. So right now we're just iterating through the players. So we have compare dword pointer 30C, which is the team again. It's comparing it to 4. Or if it's comparing if it's less than 4. If it's less than 4, it's going to jump to this address. Otherwise, it's doing a lot of compares. This is probably checking the game mode. The game mode is 4, 5, 7. So if it's a team game mode, it probably jumps to drawing the radar. If it's not a team game mode, then it only draws the local player. So this looks like a switch case statement. So let's see when this finishes drawing or checking all the game modes. So somewhere around here it should end, and here we go. We start loading some floats. Now this is a good indicator that it's starting to draw because OpenGL takes floats. And it's probably calculating how big the radar should be or where the player should be in the radar. So one thing we could do is we could copy this address, copy the address, and instead of going through all these switch statements, we just skip through all of them, so we don't care about the game mode at all. We don't care if it's deathmatch or a team deathmatch or capture the flag or whatever. If it is game mode, it's comparing. And we're just going to jump straight to it. So this instruction is 6 bytes. If we replace this with a jump, it's going to be 5 bytes because a jump in x86 is 5 bytes. It's 1 byte for the opcode and 4 bytes for the pointer. So we have enough space here to just replace this instruction. So let's do jump and paste that address. And as I said, it's going to be 5 bytes, and the instruction here is 6 bytes, so it's going to put a NOP right after it. If it doesn't have this NOP, then it's going to corrupt this instruction. Now this doesn't really matter right now because we're just skipping straight over it. But if instead we were, I don't know, changing this compare to an AND, or some other instruction, that was smaller than the compare, then it would corrupt the next instruction. So you gotta make sure you put a knob here. That is gonna be really important when we start writing our own hook. So let's see if that works. And there we go. We see our enemies, which is surprising that it worked on the first try. And let me make sure it works in other game modes, because we might have just gotten away with. Yep, okay, so it works in all game modes. That's great. Team game modes and normal game modes. Let's go back to our team game mode. Let's go back here. And so we have two addresses right now. We have the one we're overwriting and the one we're skipping to. So let's copy these down for now. So this is, let's copy this address. Let's go to our constant CPP and let's make a new pointer. Actually, let's do something different. Let's make a new header file so it doesn't get messy. And I'm just gonna name it hacks.h and make a new namespace. And this is gonna have two functions for now. It's gonna be void install map addr hook and another one for uninstall. And we're probably gonna do the other one. So let's just do another function, install minimap addr hook and uninstall as well. Find these and let's do our pointers. So let's include constants.h. Let's call the pointer map addr target address. It's going to be void pointer exe base address plus whatever we found here, and it should be this instruction. And then our skip address is going to be when it starts drawing. So let's copy this address, 5f4a6. So it's going to be void pointer map address or skip one address, and paste that new offset. Now that we have those two offsets, let's do the same thing for the other one. So like I said before, one of these functions is the radar. We're just gonna have to guess which it is. Now that we have the addresses for the actual map, let's try to find the addresses for the minimap. So like I mentioned before, there's gonna be another function, which is one of these, which is gonna be drawing the map, or the radar, whatever you wanna call it. So we can just guess. And it should have the same format as the other one. It's definitely not this one, because the function just ended immediately before the other one had a lot more things. Let's try this one. And I'm trying to find that player list pointer, which is right here. So this seems very similar to the last one, so it's probably this one. Yep, okay, we have the same case statements that we had before. And this is the function we overwrote in the other one, but in this function. So we're going to try the same thing and hope it works. So let's go to the end of the switch case statement, copy this address, and then go back to the JNLE, jump near if less than, and replace that. The jump. And let's see if that works. And we see our enemies on the minimap as well, which is really convenient because it's the same patch for both of them. So let's copy these addresses. So this is 5E596. So it's going to be called minimap address target address, and the second one's going to be the skip address, which should be whatever we skip to. So now that we have that, we can actually start working on our patch or hook, whatever you want to call it. So first things first is we're going to have to check how big our instruction was, which was 6 bytes. So now let's actually do our patch or our hook, whatever you want to call it. So first things first, we're going to need a byte array. Now this is going to contain the original bytes in that instruction. It's just going to be an array of 6. It's going to be 6 because that was the original size of the thing we're copying or the thing we replaced. And we're going to set this to 0 by default. Now in our function, we're going to have a D word called old protect. Explain what that does in a second. So now we're going to do a virtual protect so we can change our permissions on those 6 bytes we're changing. So it's going to be virtual protect. It's going to take that address, then it's going to be the length or the amount of bytes we're changing the permissions of. the permissions we're setting, and then the old protect. So we can copy the original protect and then change it back. Now this virtual protect function is just changing the permissions of our DLL to read, write, execute at that specific address. Then it's copying the original permissions to our old protect function, so we can then restore it once we make our changes. If we don't change our permissions like this, we'll get a write access violation, and our program will probably crash and throw an exception. After we're done doing our changes, we're going to copy this. After we're done making our changes, we're going to change the virtual protect back. So we're going to do old protect. So it changes it back to the original permissions, and it just needs an address here so we can use the same one. So let's actually make our changes. But before we make our changes, we need to set our original bytes. So copy the original bytes at our address, 6 bytes. We're copying this so whenever we uninstall it, we can just copy those bytes right back without having to do it manually. So now let's write our jump instruction. So it's going to be dereference byte pointer and map address, target address, and we're going to set that to 0xe9, which is the jump instruction opcode. Now that we have the opcode for the jump instruction, let's actually set the address. So it's going to be dereference of dword pointer. We're going to use a dword pointer so we can add one to it. And then we're going to do another byte pointer and then map target address. We're going to add 1 because after the opcode is 1 byte, and the next 4 bytes are going to be the actual address. The actual address is going to be a relative address. So even though you see xacclient.exe plus whatever that is, what it's actually doing, it's counting how many bytes from here to our actual jump. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take the map skip address, we're going to subtract the target address to get how many bytes away it is, and then we're going to subtract 5 since that's the size of our jump instruction, and we calculate our actual offset. After that, like I mentioned before, let's go back to our jump. So we have to overwrite the next byte with a NOP so it doesn't corrupt the next instruction. Now this might not matter too much since we're just jumping right over it, but just in case, it's good practice to just overwrite this one instead. So let's do that real quick. We can just copy this, and it's going to be +5 since that's the 6th byte, and it's just going to be 0x90, which is the NOP operation. And then we're going to set the virtual protect back to the original, and then let's do the same thing, but let's do uninstall, which is going to be pretty simple. So we're going to have the old protect, we're going to do the same virtual protect we had before, we're going to paste that in, and then we're going to have to restore the old protect, set back the permissions to the original. Then we're going to use memcopy to copy those original bytes. That's going to be map target address. The source is going to be the original bytes, and it's 6 bytes. And that's going to be it. Now that should be pretty much it for our hook. We can basically do the same thing for our minimap since it's just the same instruction or the same patch. Let me add those 2 functions. So I went ahead and copied and pasted those functions and just changed their actual addresses, but everything else should be exactly the same. Now before we test that out, let's go to our settings, add a new namespace for hacks, and extern a new boolean for radar hack. I'm gonna add that to our CPP file, set it to true by default. We're gonna go to our menu, I'm gonna add a new tab. So let's do void hack settings. Let's do radar hack. Pass in the boolean, but to actually make it call the functions, we're going to call an if statement. If the checkbox is clicked, we're going to check if the radar hack is enabled. So if settings hacks.radarhack, we're going to install the map address hook, but we have to include hacks.h. We're going to install the minimap as well, and else we're going to uninstall both of them. Now you could have 2 different settings for each, but I'm just going to do both in the same button or checkbox. And then by default in our DLL main, we're just going to install that hook. Let's include X, and by default, now that we have that, let's actually test it out. So let's test it out. Let me open a cell cube in OpenCheat Engine so we can see the before and after we inject. Let me inject and see if we got it correct. There's a slight bug here. it's still corrupting because it's setting 2 random zeros right after, and it's overriding the rest of the operations. So somewhere in here, I put a D word where there shouldn't have been. So if we go back to our hacks.cpp, and it should be somewhere in the knobs. Here it is. It should be a byte pointer. Because if we use a D word, it's going to be 4 bytes. If we use a byte pointer, it's going to be 1 byte. A byte, it's the same thing as an unsigned char. It's just a cast. And now that should work. Let's try again. We open SolidCube, open Cheat Engine, and let's inject. And this time it should work correctly. There's no overwriting. It shouldn't really matter anyways, but since we're jumping straight over the corrupted instructions, but just in case it changes something, it's good practice. And it should skip all the way over here. It should be correct. Yep, perfect. So if we go to our game, we open our minimap, we should see our target and our CPU, and that should be on our minimap as well. Perfect. Now that's going to be it for today's video. The only thing now left to do is packet hacking, which would be sending kill packets, backup packets for items, or something similar. But besides that, I'm thinking of doing a series on another FPS like Battlefield 1 or Counter-Strike Source. I can't do Battlefield 5 because my videos will get taken down, but if I do Battlefield 1, there's a chance they might stay up. And since they both use the same engine and anti-cheat, it should work. If I show you how to do Battlefield 1, you should be able to do your own Battlefield 5 cheat. Same thing for CSGO. So let me know if you have any suggestions for this series or the next one. But anyways, thanks for watching.